Hello humans, what is up, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, we shape and polish opal using a dremel and diamond bits here, so if that's something that interests you, it would be awesome if you'd subscribe. Today we're going to be working on this piece of crystal Ethiopian opal with a spectacular green-orange broad flash, and it looks like it has a bit of a curved bit there, so if I can help it, I'd like to try to make that the face. When we measure it, it is 11 by 20 by 7 millimeters, and when we shine a flashlight through it, you guys can really see how some of those dirt pockets extend inward, but hopefully we'll still be able to get those out without any cracking issues. When we weigh the original piece, it is 5.96 carats, so if you guys want to see how this stone gets shaped and polished and turned into a beautiful cabochon, keep on watching. Alright, so moving on to a bit of a game plan here. So on this side of the stone, it kind of curves in a bit of a U shape. So that's going to be something we're going to have to work around. But I am going to make it the back because it is it's flat already, and I want to take advantage of the curving on the other side. Now, while all of the dirt does come from the other side, I do think it's important to try to make that the face, just to try to save as much of the stone as possible. So I could make the flatter part the face of the stone, but I'd probably get about half of the size than I would if I made the exposed part the bottom. So that's what we're going to do. So moving on to my 800 grit diamond sintered bit here, I started by working on the narrower end of the stone and kind of bringing that down, and then working on the bumpy sides of the stone, and then bringing in the edges of the more bulbous side to match up the arches of the top and the bottom and get the sides nice and smooth. And so once I was done kind of evening that out, I got it in kind of a good puck shape, and then that's when I decided to start flattening out the back. And you know, normally I would go in to shape the dome first, but since this stone does have such a valley in the back of it, I really want to get that flat because that is what's going to determine how tall I'm going to be able to make this dome on this stone. So once the back is flattened out, I then went in and took out the dirt from what's going to be the face, and then I kind of moved from the edges into the middle of what's going to be our dome to create our dome. But you can have these sharp edges all around where the sides are, and it's important to kind of take those all down first, even before you start from the edges inwards, just because sometimes those can create a bump in the stone, and we really want to make sure that that's nice and smoothed out first. So yeah, once the sides are lower and we've created our good dome, I sort of started to concentrate on making sure that it is a evenly round shape, and then looking at the dome from the sides and then also from the top and the bottom. Like, you could put it up on your finger and just make sure that the bottom is nice and flat and that the dome is even overall, because sometimes if you're not paying enough attention, you can see that one side will slant more than the other, and you really want to make sure that it's nice and even. So this is the stone shape that I ended up with after the roughest grit, and as you can see, there's a lot of scratches all over it. If I were to dry this out, it would be pretty like, it would look like some sea glass, you know? And then moving on to the Nova points, this is where we're going to get out all those scratches and those bumpy spots. And then if the stone does have like a uneven cresting, we will be able to work that out and get it into a better shape on these first 2 Nova points because they are so rough. And another thing to keep in mind is while not all opal is created equal, some opals will be softer than others, even with Ethiopian. So I have had some Ethiopian opals that do take longer to cut because they are a harder consistency. And it's really interesting, just the variation from stone to stone that I see, at least in my experience, that, yeah, some are more finicky than others as well. I feel like when a stone is more prone to cracking, you can really tell because it absorbs the water like super wicked fast. So that's something to keep an eye out for. I have had only a few super white Ethiopian opals in my day, and each of those that I have shaped, they absorb the water super fast, and then they end up breaking, and those ones, they're pretty freaking chalky. It's like when your hand is wet and you're touching it, it's almost like it gets glued to your finger. It's really interesting how that works, just the variety of material. Now this particular one, I can tell is a keeper. I will, to kind of quality test a certain stone, just get my finger wet and touch it on a cleaner spot and see how much it sticks to my finger. And the ones that stick to my finger the least are, you know, less likely to crack. While even if it does absorb water pretty quickly, sometimes they still won't crack. But anyways, it's just something to keep in mind. And also, all Ethiopian opals will stick to your finger to some degree, of course, and that's, you know, how you can tell if a stone is Ethiopian versus, you know, from some other country. So something else that I've said before, and I will say it again, is I have had all of my stones for over a year now, and most of them I purchased during COVID, so I haven't purchased any opal for a really long time. But when I do finally decide to get a parcel when I have the money, I will definitely go over that with you guys and do a first time unboxing of that on the channel. So this is the stone when it's full of water, and you can see that we are still left with some color to look at in there. Sometimes it gets totally crystal clear and you have no color, and it has a bit of a hazy finish because it's not polished yet. And then this is the stone after it's been dried out. I just put it in my little tool drawer, closed it, and left it for a couple of days, and yeah, all the color came back, and you can really see that the flash is better. So moving on to the lapidary pastes here, we can, if you have scratches on your stone, get out a lot of those scratches on the first couple of polishing pastes here. And when you are doing this, it is important to keep in mind that you are still taking off carat weight just a little bit, you know, not as much as other things, but it is still taking away some of the stone. So it is important to check it constantly and just make sure that you're just barely getting the scratches out, so that you can, you know, maybe keep a couple of tenths of a carat, you know. And yeah, so moving through these, they all do give it a pretty good polish, but you'll notice as you're moving through that the polish gets better and better and brighter and more mirror-like. And if you really want to just give it that extra little bit of oomph, you can take it on to some Serium oxide after you have done all of this. I've seen a lot of success with people using Serium oxide on their Ethiopian opals, so definitely think about that if that's what you want to do. It is traditional to use Serium oxide, especially on you know, non-hydrophane stones. Another thing to keep in mind is not all Ethiopian opal is hydrophane. I have heard recently that stayish opal isn't actually hydrophane, and it won't absorb the water nearly as much as Wellow opal, so that's interesting. I have been sitting on some stayish opal for a while now that I purchased way back when, and I just haven't shaped it yet. But, you know, it's cool to see. I saw that in a global prospecting video that those don't actually absorb that much water. So, heck yeah, that's pretty cool. And, yeah, sometimes you get a stone and you're really excited about it, and then you go and you start working on it and it just doesn't work out. And, you know, don't get too discouraged no matter what. You're not always going to have success in opal, and I feel like there's it's borderline fear-mongering of people who are Australian opal elitists that say the Ethiopian is just going to crack and break and crumble away out of your hands, and you're going to have nothing, and don't waste your money on Ethiopian. But let me just tell you guys, as somebody who's been shaping Ethiopian for years, that it's pretty darn reliable, and no matter what kind of opal you're shaping, there's always the possibility of it cracking or crazing. All opal does that, and just really make sure to get the dirt out of it when you're working on it. I know that I have had stones that have crazed and cracked because I left some dirt in it, but not all stones do that. Some stones, they're just fine with a little bit of dirt in it. You just gotta, it's just take it on a stone per stone basis. So this is the finished product, and when we look at it, you can really see that there's like kind of like this, it's almost like a prism pattern, but it doesn't have the full rainbow. It's nice and directional, and I do like it. It's like bands of color that go across the surface. I'm not quite sure what to call this pattern. I want to call it prism pattern, but if you guys have you know, more knowledge on that, please let me know down in the comment section below. I always appreciate it when you guys leave comments for me. It really means a lot. And yeah, just tell me what pattern you guys think this is. And I'm very happy with this finished product. I feel like the polish turned out great. I absolutely love crystal opal, though, you know, technically it's worth a bit less as with Ethiopian for it to be crystal. But I still I love seeing through the stone, and sometimes you get this 3D color on color. You guys can really see that the back of the stone got a lot of color there, because that was the broader part that you guys see in the thumbnail. So when we weigh this stone out, the finished weight is 1.52 carats. When we measure it out, it is 10 millimeters by 7 millimeters by 5 millimeters. So I do feel like I was able to save a decent amount of the area of it. And this is the rough piece at 5.96 carats. It was a stunner of a rough gem, and when I got this in my parcel, I sure was pleased. I sat on it for over a year trying to think about how I wanted to do it, when I wanted to shape it, and in the end we ended up losing 4.44 carats. This is the finished piece, and I'm just showing off the back here, and look at that. Did you guys see that awesome like teal blue? It's spectacular. That's one of my favorite colors to see in opal, because I just don't see very much blue in Ethiopian. But overall, I am very pleased with the finished product here. I think it would make a beautiful necklace, and yeah, you know, it's like, while the back is where a lot of the color is, the face still has some great color to it. And I absolutely love how crystal clear this stone is. It's a gorgeous stone, and I do like the sort of linear pattern that I got from the face of it. If I make this into a necklace, it is most certainly going to have a open back so that we're able to retain that awesome flash. I don't know what it is about a flat back, but flat faces, I like them. So, that was the time that I dropped it here, but I do have a giveaway this video. I really want to reward you guys who watch my videos, and if you want to win this parcel of rough Ethiopian opal, just tell me in the comments how many carats you think this weighs. There's definitely some cabs to be had in here. There are a couple of stones in here that I think would probably be best if you just took the dirt off of it and had kind of a irregular shape. But yeah, whoever wins this, please tag me in it wherever you decide to post it, or you could just send me photos of it on my email, and I'll put that right here. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. You know, subscribe if you're not subscribed already. That would be excellent. Share this with a friend if you have a friend to share it with, and you would be one of the awesome folks. And I'll see you guys next time that I end up posting. Later.